what's going to be? How's it hanging? How's it happen? You guys know this is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast. Today we're going to the northeast of the United States to bring on JP from the band Devitalized. And in this episode, we're going to dive deep into their song Godslayer and how Barber from Grin became a part of the track. How this band is taking their deathcore roots and really mixing with so many different other styles and why. And then a new song about Egyptian mythology, including classical Egyptian instruments from their culture. What? You guys ready? Let's dive into it. Let's go! Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast. A couple of our good friends have started sending us some emails. One of them had sent us an email and said, hey, you want to check out this band? They got a brand new song out featuring Barber from Grin. I'm like, you know what? That seems about right. We've been bringing some bigger bands in the podcast, but one of our things that we always like to do here still is to support those upcoming bands because that's the best way we're going to grow the music scene, right? And the best way for you to grow the music scene is to get to know this band right now with their brand new song, Godslayer, out now, featuring Tom from Grin. And you like the heavy stuff? Deathcore, hardcore, metalcore, want to blend it all together and just have a blast with it? This is for you. So please welcome JP from the band Devitalized to the podcast. So JP, welcome to the Chord Progression Podcast.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for being on, man. How has everything been going in your world as of late? Because, I mean, you guys got the brand new song out, building up on the band, building up some steam to really get going even further into your career. So just, how's life going, man?
Life is pretty good. You know, aside from music, I did just get a new job and I'm really like trying to go all in on that because, you know, it's going to be a lot of financial stability for the next few months as well. But musically, everything's going pretty good. I think we're reassessing everything and kind of trying to find a new sound as well with our music because we really want to, you know, put our interest in different styles of music. We really don't want to do just deathcore as well. You know, I think it's cool that we're doing everything, and I think that's a big thing for us.
I think that could be a big thing, especially going down the line for two main reasons. One is it gives you guys a little bit of unpredictability feel to where you can really branch out and you can go in these different places, try different things with your sound. And there's not going to be an expectation that people love to put on bands where they're going to put them directly into a box. And it's like, then they want you to stay in that box and you have pressure to stay in that lane and only stay in that style. Kind of like, I'm going to use like Breaking Benjamin as an example. When it comes to Breaking Benjamin, we listen to them and it's, you know, we know exactly what to expect. If that's how they love to go with, that's fantastic. But then you look at a band like Bring Me the Horizon, where every release, it's kind of like, we don't know what to expect, but we know to expect good quality. That's the point it seems like you guys are striving to get towards, and that makes a lot of sense. Plus, then you guys can blend genres together even more so as you experiment with this stuff. So who knows, maybe you stay in the deathcore out, but all of a sudden you put merge deathcore and pop punk at the exact same time to see where that goes. It could work, you never know, but you're open to trying it, and then the people that are listening, you are open to listening to it because they're used to that variety and they're used to that randomness that can come up with the core sound still being that Devitalized feel.
Yeah. You know, it's funny that you bring up pop punk because a while ago I actually did like a pop punk kind of song, and I kind of hated it, but a lot of people that listened to it said they really liked it. So I think it's kind of funny that was like brought up in the mix. Pop punk is something I would definitely like to explore. I think pop like metalcore would be really cool. I listen to a lot of like bands, you know, I listen to deathcore, death metal, you know, grindcore, but I also listen to like regular heavy metal, metalcore. I listen to a lot of rap and pop music. Like I really like Kendrick Lamar. I think one of my favorite rappers is Kodak Black. So it's like I like to get inspiration from all, you know, areas of music just because you never know when something could like pop in your head and you're like, that would be cool in this style of song. So I would love to explore more than just being in like one specific box. And yeah, I agree.
I mean, from my standpoint, I'm definitely going to be pushing you guys and say that you should explore more of that. I have had conversations with many people in the past, and when it comes to really creating their sound or creating these certain ideas, they're getting a lot of these ideas from these places where you wouldn't expect them to from a fan standpoint, because you're not expecting a band like, you know, I mean, use like a I Prevail example. You're not gonna expect them to get, inspiration from maybe a rap artist, but then all of
Yeah.
a sudden it's something that they pick up on from something they like. They pick up a certain way this vocal pattern flows. They pick up a certain like note in this certain beat where it's like, okay, this absolutely hits, and we can build something around that for ourselves. It's that kind of inspiration, that kind of creativity that has led to large musical revolutions over the course of time. It's what led to the British invasion back in the 1960s and Beatlemania. It's what led to rock music starting to become bigger in the 70s. It led to hair metal. It led to grunge. It led to new metal, and it's led to pop punk. It keeps leading to new things, so you never know what's going to come next. But if you keep staying within these certain boundaries of, potential influence, it's going to stay within that. But if you explore more, you're going to find a brand new path to go down. You're going to find a new sound that maybe no one has ever even thought of hearing or thought of creating at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, one big thing I've been wanting since the beginning of Devitalized was I really think it'd be cool to cater to all genres of music because you never know who, like, some guy who listened to Godslayer, might be like, wow, that's really dope. I love this genre of music because they're super metal deathcore heads. And then, like, maybe in like 3 months, we drop a song that has a little more, synth and sounds really poppy. And then people are like, those deathcore heads are like, wow, I can, I don't usually listen to this, but this is something I can really get into. And then they find more artists they like that have that same sound. That I really want to do that because I think it'd be dope to like, really just expand other people's minds, not only just my own.
I'll say that makes a lot of sense too, because even taking a look at, I'm going to take a look at its terms of Spotify numbers. I'm using this as the metric so people can actually go and look at this. The two bands that are the biggest in like the alternative metals rock scene right now in that capacity are Bring Me the Horizon and Falling in Reverse. And take a look at what both those bands are doing, both those groups are doing. It's, we know what their sound is to their core. There's some piece of it that's there, but in every song, they're exploring these different avenues and these different genres, and they continue to grow and continue to appeal to everyone in the music scene because, like, Bring Me the Horizon, for example, there's going to be people that love Count Your Blessings, Chelsea Smile, Diamonds Aren't Forever. There's going to be people like me who absolutely love There's a Hell, There's a Heaven, and Sempiternal. Then you're going to get people that like what they did for Amo and what they're doing more currently. But at the same time, we're all checking out these different things that Bring the Horizon's doing, and we're all connecting with other sides of the music industry that we might never be able to do. And if you guys are able to start to build that up in your own way, but even in a heavier sense in the same side as well, and really blend all these different pieces in there, again, you never know. You might do deathcore rap, might do deathcore pop punk, might do hardcore, butt rock at the exact same time too. Who knows where that's all going to flow in, but you're giving yourself the ability to do it. And that's the important thing, especially early on.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm really excited to show you more of what we have in store. We've kind of gone through that. We've gone down this little path of scrap this, but keep that, scrap this, but keep that, because we're really trying to take a lot of time to make something that is fun to listen to. Like Godslayer is a great example because it's a fun song, like from start to finish, like from the intro on YouTube, me playing a little video game, doing something a little silly, to like the really just heavy deathcore in the beginning, and then it kind of slows down throughout the song and just gets like really just like on it, and that song, even just playing it live, you can see the faces. We open with it every show because it's like crazy, and then as soon as that like and so the sun shed my shackles hits, everyone's just kind of like, whoa, because it's like unpredictable. It's an unpredictable, like, heavy moment of the song, and it's a really crazy switch up, honestly. So and like that's like you brought up Bring Me the Horizon. Like, I love the older Bring Me the Horizon. I think their older stuff is way better just because I grew up on it. Mm-hmm. But I will say that what they're doing for the scene is incredible. I mean, they're really reviving metal all around, and like Korn and like Slipknot. I'm like wearing a Slipknot shirt right now. Like these bands, like, although they're drifting away from what they used to sound like, because they know that they have to appeal to another crowd, because they're really trying to bring the scene more up. You can, if you stay so secluded in one little, like you said, box, you can't really gain more recognition or give recognition to these smaller artists coming up doing the same thing. So
Yeah, I think the last thing you said definitely makes a lot more sense too, because if we're, even for the bigger artists, if you're staying in the same box, then you're the artists that you can be able to uplift and the people you're able to connect with, and really give support to the new people that are coming up, so your genre and your style continues to thrive as the years go on. That's going to become less and less if you stay in that box, and then you're not going to hit as many people. But again, Bring Me the Horizon is a perfect example, the band that is perfectly doing this, and kind of seeing the influence that it had for you guys, even on Godslayer, where it has the deathcore heaviness at the beginning, and then all of a sudden about halfway through, and I was thinking about, I'm like, now you're switching from more of a deathcore style to more of a hardcore style, just kind of given how the beat was flowing, and then you get just the piece of heaviness that comes towards the end that really hits you in the face. But it is a little bit unexpected, because we're kind of getting more of this like hardcore flow to it, and then all of a sudden, boom, this hits, and you're just kind of freaking out over it. But you're seeing the faces start to like melt and get that little bit of that like like that, like, oh, that's nasty, but like that's a good kind of nasty feel.
Yeah, no, it happens. It's happened almost every time we play it. Like, it goes from like yeah, it's really good to like, damn, that's like really good. The headbanging gets crazier for that part. I mean, we played a show last night, the Webster in Connecticut. It's a pretty dope venue. We've never played there before, but the crowd was loving it. They love that song, and I'm sure most of those people did not know who we were because like that's not an area we played in very often. But we definitely gained some new supporters, and I love seeing it. I mean, I'm glad people like what we have and what we're putting out. So I'm glad those breakdowns are hitting.
Oh, I would be too. I mean, at the same time, it kind of gives back to that piece of like positive reinforcement where you're taking a look at, all right, we're seeing what hits and what's absolutely hitting. Now, what can we do with our own music that's gonna, continue to take what we do with Godslayer and hit that same emotion with people and hit that same positive feeling. But what's the key that allows us to do this in different styles going forward? What's the thing that's connecting with people there? Because then you're, again, able to build and continue to grow and to just try different things. And again, I kind of want to go back to that whole Bring Me the Horizon thing too, because you take a look at other bands that are really starting to gain more popularity now. You think about, 2016, 2017, it was a real dead period at times, especially for rock and metal, because there were no new bands that were getting any support. All the bands that were getting like the airplay or like the concentration from fans, anything, were at least 10, 20 years old at that point, at the very least. So no one was really getting behind them. All of a sudden now Bring Me the Horizon gets more recognition. Falling Reverse gets more recognition. Here comes Spirit Box. Here comes Bad Omens. Here comes Sleep Token, doing all these different things, doing all these different pieces. And then from that standpoint, you're in a pretty good position to open up your sound and see where it takes you, because more and more people in the scene, even on a smaller scale, even on the biggest scale as well, are more open to the possibility of what could be coming in here. The incubation period you guys are in right now with this sound, what you could do with it, and where the fans are being as open to this I would say in a more of an earlier stage, not the earliest stage. The earliest stage would have been like when Spirit Box was really hitting off and Bad Omens had just released the first single for Death of Peace Mind. But you're still in the early stage of, hey, the fans are open to brand new stuff. Go and maximize out on it if you're able to.
Yeah. I think one of my biggest inspirations right now in the industry is honestly probably Silent Planet. I love what they do. From listening to Panic Room the first time I ever heard it, like I really felt that song, because one big thing about the band too, and my message is mental health. Like I get it. I've been struggling a lot my whole life. A lot of my lyrics are literally, I write them when I'm in the worst mindset possible, because it helps me get out of that. But like Silent Planet, like listening to like Panic Room and like Alive as a House Fire, and those songs, they really inspired me to like create that like hardcore heavy song, but still keep it a little soft where people enjoy it. I love that band, and I love their new song they just put out too. Like it had a very retro wave like vibe, but it was also like hardcore. So that, for inspiration, I'd say I'm definitely taking a lot of my like I'm putting a lot of my focus into that stuff, because I like that a lot. I like sound.
Yeah, and even thinking about you taking inspiration from Silent Planet specifically, it's unfortunate with Sound Plant they're not bigger than they actually are right now, based on
Yeah.
I'll say based on their like the focus on mental health, the message that they put out there. But not only that, but again, I've talked about this before. Again, having Garrett on the podcast, being able to talk, one of the nicest, if not the best person in the rock and metal scene right now. You can ask anyone that knows Sound Planet. I've heard nothing but the most positive things said about Garrett Russell. So taking inspiration from that, from him specifically when it comes to lyric writing, when it comes to finding sound, and when it comes to trying to capture attention, you're going to be able to take inspiration from everywhere else, but at the same time, it's something there that just sticks out where you continue to focus in on that, and people that just have a niche for the sound are going to just instantly be attracted to it. There's a pull that's there, and you're going to be able to find it. And the best part about it is you're going to be able to put it into your own style as well, given the fact that you're already thinking about how to blend these things together. That is the key. It's the blending of it all.
Yeah. Garrett is a really cool dude. I mean, honestly, like he knows what he's doing lyrically, and the band knows what they're doing, like with, like you said, that blend. Like they know how to make those sounds work. Because one thing I love about music all around is simply just the sound wave, like the feeling of the music. I love, lyrics are great. I love being able to read them and understand them, but sometimes it's like the way the song itself feels that makes you truly feel like everything about it. Like I brought up Panic Room, like it's a very poetic song, and it has a very like odd time signature, and it's a little different than most songs you would listen to. It's not like verse chorus. It's pretty much just one straight set through track, nothing. And I love it because of that. And I love the way the drums feel and the slow build up to that just like really heavy ending. And yeah, Garrett is a super cool dude. I would love to tour with Silent Planet at one point in my life. I feel like we would get along well.
Tour with Silent Planet, get Garrett on a track if you can, whatever works to kind of help make that dream come true. And I was even thinking about what you just said there when it comes to thinking about it from that standpoint, when it comes to lyrics versus like instrumentation, sound, and the sonic quality behind a song. There are a lot of people that get connected with the lyrics, absolutely. But when you're playing around with a heavier sound, playing with some deeper, more of those unclean vocals, even to the trained ear of all of us metalheads, it can be hard to figure out exactly what you're saying at that point. So when it comes to trying to get the message and an emotion of a song across, you have to rely on how the sonic feel of that instrumentation is going to pull forward. Sound Planet's great at that, especially with bringing forward more of these emotions and more of this deeper meaning. And when you get to the lyrics of that, then you really pull through. The one I always bring up in my mind that always reminds me is the song Above My Head by Polaris, where, of course, I've listened to it 2 or 3 times. I listen to lyrics and it just absolutely resonated with me. But the amplification of that is all from the riff and the chorus, and especially is how the entire guitar part is played out by Ryan, unfortunately dying in June. Rest in peace, Ryan. But it's just that piece alone is something that when you think about music sonically connecting with emotions, that's always what I go to is if you can find something that's going to hit like that, again, not the same sound, but just have the same impact on your song by just driving the emotion so far forward that when people get to lyrics, it even pushes it like to super drive mode. Yeah, go for it. That's what really connects with some people to an absolute core and helps get those songs to become absolute hits. That's why some of these pop hits absolutely pop off, because whatever time signature, whatever beat, whatever poppy thing they're doing, it's hitting on some positive emotion for a lot of people, and they're getting behind that.
Yeah. Another big band I really like is Dayseeker. I think their come up that they've had is incredible, and they're everything about the band is great. I mean, Rory's an incredible singer. He has a beautiful voice. He's made some really just amazing tracks. I love like Neon Grave. I know it's a very popular one, but I around the time that song dropped, I actually lost my grandfather. So I really resonate with the track itself and the lyrics and the way it feels. When I heard the song for the first time, I went down to my basement and I like immediately got on my drum set and started learning it, because I also play drums, and I wanted to because I just felt that song. I felt it in my soul. So that's another big band that also inspires me, that has good like flow altogether. Dayseeker is up there for sure.
Yeah, and even the beauty behind it too is when we listen to certain songs, even, you know, when you bring up Neon Grave, I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you mean by that because I can relate to the same thing too, where, you know, I think it came out maybe 3-4 months right after I lost my grandfather as well. So it kind of had a little piece to it. However, there was a different song that I was really connecting with on a different aspect. So I was kind of more focused in on that one instead of Neon Grave.
Yeah.
But again, it's something where you know, going to see Dayseeker live, the same thing happens. You feel that emotion, you feel the passion that's behind there, and you just let it all waft over you to the point where everyone in the crowd, I mean, even if we can get pits going for them, which of course we do, there's just this different flow, this different feeling, or people are just kind of like, you know, arm in arm with each other, just kind of getting the emotion of it. It's that kind of feel where even you can feel that, you know, not even a live time, you can feel that at home. You can feel that when you got your earbuds in, your headphones in, whatever it is, just getting lost in the song and getting lost in your own feelings of emotion because the song is guiding you that way. That is a very powerful thing. So with you guys doing that with Godslayer, I mean, I took a look at, you know, the little press release, see where the song came from. It's like, oh, I see where the inspiration comes from. Holy shit. And then I listened through, I'm like, now I'm starting to put all the pieces together and how this thing connects and how this song sounds and why you went with certain decisions that you did. It started to make a lot more sense.
Yeah. I think it's really funny because the song itself is honestly about a video game. So, if you don't know, at the time that I had the idea for the song, it was originally before called Godslayer, and before we actually, because I started doing the song before we actually became Devitalized, like I even put out our first single, and it was going to be called Dead Set, and it was about Elden Ring, because just like I was so dead set on playing the game. And I would play it I would play it all the time. And I got so into it, and I was like, I want to write a song about this. I want to write a song about this. And I was like, what would be a cool name? And I was like playing, and I had this sword that I always use, the Godslayer Great Sword. And I would always use it, always use it. And I'm like, wait, fuck, I'm gonna call it Godslayer. That's such a dope name. And like that's what you do in the game. So I was like, that would be awesome to make, like, you know, that'd be a sick name. It's a reference to the game, so I thought people would catch on to it. And when I brought the idea to Tom, because I saw they came and played a show in my home state, and we hung out and all that stuff. I showed him the song, and he's like, "Dude, I want to be on this. Like, I want to be a part of this." And he offered to, like, because I had some lyrics, and he offered to like rewrite them, and he's like, "These ones are gonna hit." And we just went with that. You know, it took some time to pick and choose because both you know, the lyrics that we had were really, really good, but I was like, dude, these ones are incredible. Like, and it really just, it's like so brutal for a game that's literally just about like going around and collecting coins and killing gods, and just, so it's just fun to make, you know, we're god slayers. So I love it.
You even took away one of my next questions. It was going to be, how the hell did you get Tom on this track? But that's even more of an incredible story than I even could fathom. I mean, most times you hear people get features on tracks. It's like, oh, no, we hit him up somehow. We just like the song and it happened. It's like, no, you actually got to show him literally after a show. And he's like, dude, I need on this. I need on this bad. It's like, give me my fix, man. I need to be on this track. Come on.
Yeah. No, literally. It was before the show. Like I got there hours and hours before. I hadn't seen them in years. The last time I had saw, you know, they had seen me, I was younger, and I was like, "What's up?" And he remembered me, and he came and gave me a big hug, and he's like, "You want to come chill with us? Let me load in real quick." And I was like, "Dude, we'll chill, we'll talk." We caught up on everything, you know, and I got to hear some of the new Chelsea Grin album before it was even the first single that came out. I got to hear new Darko, and like, dude, they're just awesome people. And it was great being able to show him some stuff that I was working on, you know. And he was like, "You guys are gonna be something big." And he was like, "I love this. You guys are killing it." And it was just great that he was a part of the song, because to hear him say he loved it and he wanted to be part of it was honestly good enough for me. Like it hit me right in the feels. So I love them. I love Tom. I love the CG guys all around, and I'm very thankful for them.
I mean, that's like a personal win and like a lifetime win right there for you to get Tom Barber, someone that you've listened to for many years, on a track, and literally him asking to be on it after you showed him the stuff, and not even have you ask him. It's just like, no, I want on this now. On top of that, when it comes to the whole video game connection too, you think about video games, and especially think about, I was going to use any kind of like, fantasy world video game, especially around that standpoint. I'm always thinking about, there's always going to be some sort of quest type deal. There's always going to be some sort of weapon. There's always going to be some sort of crazy god like boss that you have to kill or continually do that. And then when listening through the track after kind of taking that all in, you go through that first half that's more of that like deathcore kind of feel. And the whole entire way through, all I'm feeling at that moment is I'm like, okay, this feels like I'm gearing up, I'm ready to go, and I'm pumping myself up for something like this boss fight, like trying to kill this god and see where it goes, and let's give it a shot. But at the time that kind of switches up, you go to that more hardcore style. Now it went from, preparing for this fight to actually being in this fight.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you get that heavier piece and Tom comes in and it's just like, alrighty, we went from, being in this fight to either we are struggling for our lives right now, we got to find a way to win this, or we're going to be done for, or we are dominating so much to the point where we are about to just take this guy down with one more strike, and that is it. And you can take it anyway, but it gives for that feel of preparing for a big giant boss fight. And then the best part about the song is you're not just preparing for it. You take the second half and you actually attack at it. So it gives that call to action feel right there that we all need, especially after that minute and a half pump up. And we're like, let's go do this shit. Fuck some shit up. Ah!
I remember, because Elden Ring is a fairly hard game to most people, and like Dark Souls, the series itself it's one of the more known like harder story driven games. And I played a lot of Demon Souls a long time ago, and I remember playing Bloodborne, but I hadn't played in a long time. So when I got Elden Ring and I was playing it and I was really, really bad, I kept dying. I was very angry. So, like, I would always just be really pissed off at the game. I was like, nah, I don't want to play it anymore. So I think a lot of that, like, anger really came out, when I started recording vocals for the song. It was kind of a like, me being mad that I kept dying on that track. So I love that about it.
Yeah, that's something that I need to even kind of dive deeper into at the same point as well, because one thing I've talked about with a couple of different people, and one person specific on the podcast was Justin DeBleek, the former guitarist for Ice Nine Kills, because now he produces a lot of music. I had him on the podcast with one of my good friends because he produces all his music, and he was talking about how he had to like pushing this guy to sing more and like sing different styles because this certain thing was working, but he wasn't feeling like, he's like, I don't believe you. Like in these lyrics, like I know the lyrics are there, I know the sound is there, but the way that the final product is, I don't believe that you think this. I don't believe that you feel this. So you kind of just remembering all the frustration you had playing anything from the Dark Souls series, just struggling at it and just letting it all out in these lyrics. It lends more to that feeling of this is more legitimate. This is more believable. And this is something where people can really get behind, and even listening to it, it's, they can start to feel some of that frustration. They can start to feel some of that anger boiling over, because anyone who's played video games, it doesn't matter what video game it is. It could be one of the easiest games in the world, but you probably played it when you were 2-3 years old. So you struggled at it because you didn't know what to do. Heck, my favorite video game I ever played, the first time I played it for the first time, I was like, I want to say 4 years old. And I didn't beat it the whole game until I was like 10 or 11. It took me 7 years to do it. And now if I want to do a full run through, a speed run through, I'm getting close to just beating it in 4 hours. 100%. It's just like, well, what the hell is that for? But the frustration of trying to get past those certain places just took forever.
Yeah. No, I get you. I used to be a crazy gamer, so I kind of get it. I remember playing when I was a little kid. Me and my brother would play like a lot of like Mortal Kombat and Jack and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank, and I did not know what I was doing. I was just like a stupid little kid. And now, I play these games, and I can go back and play them for like backward compatible, and I'm like, wow, how was I so bad at this? Like, I'm doing so good. So like, it's just crazy how like when you grow up, you really just learn how to do it so much easier.
Well, I mean, as we grow up too, it's like we learn different things, we learn different skills, and we recognize different patterns at the exact same time and how these things are going to work out. Because I think about the game I was referencing, which was good old N64's Banjo-Kazooie, where it's like
Yeah, I love that game.
Favorite game of all time, and currently it sits right here.
I actually have it in my room right now. Hold on, let me
Oh, this is awesome. Yes. Yeah. Oh my God. Sharing video games on the podcast.
Chewy.
Oh,
Fan-
shoot. That you got 2E as well. Well, sir.
Yeah,
Right behind you.
I love those games. I'm trying to get my N64 to work again. I miss playing it. I really do.
Oh man, it just brings back so many good memories, but it also brings back a lot of like the frustration points in time as well. And we're able to look back at those certain moments. Like take a look at all the musicians that take a look back at certain moments in their life and really bring forward those emotions, or just emotions that they felt recently and brought them out. Think about Neon Grave with Dayseeker, which we had just talked about. Think about the whole entire Holy Hell album from Architects. That's just a great album microcosm to really see what it's like when a band is going through something together, really letting all the emotion out in every single song. But there are songs where people recall emotions from like 20 years prior and bring them forward in those songs. Those can be some of those powerful songs. Well, it can be their most popular songs, but it's because what they can do is they take the emotion of what they know, what's current for them. They relate that back as a bridge to what they felt back in those times that they're trying to reference. They're able to cross that bridge, get to that emotional point, and put it out in the music, put it out to the instrumentals, put it out with the vocals every step of the way. So it stands to reason why, you kind of going back through, your time playing video games and your struggles with the Dark Souls series to put more of the emotion behind the vocals. It just makes sense.
Yeah. I was like, and I probably didn't even realize it. Probably wasn't even intentional, but it was there. So I love it. I love how it came out too. I really, when I look back on the song itself, I'm like, I think that was also my biggest growth vocally, because a lot of the stuff that I recorded way back when I was a younger kid doesn't sound as good as what I'm doing now, and I've really come a long way as a vocalist as well. So it's dope to hear how similar I even sound to Tom. Like a lot of people say that I definitely took a lot of my inspiration from him as a vocalist.
Trying to figure out where Tom's feature was on the song took me a second listen to really make sure I could pinpoint it. It's there. You can tell, but through the first time listening through it, I was looking for it. I'm like, wait, did that actually come through at all? I'm not entirely sure. So I can see where people are saying that. But you saying that you took a huge step forward as a vocalist on this. Again, even though it was not intentional for you to put that emotion in there, but because it happened, now it unlocks something completely new in your brain, completely new in your vocal pattern, in your style to really put this all out there and just let the emotion flow from what you know, so that when you're writing the next track, when you're writing the next song, you're writing the lyrics that and trying to figure out what the vocal pattern is for it, you can just let it all fly at that given moment without a care in the world, and understand how to connect with that emotion, how to connect with the feeling of the song that you want to drive from beginning to end, and how your vocal tone and vocal pattern can really connect on that when you're recalling specific emotions or recalling specific topics that are going to evoke that emotional response in you so that you put it on the track.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say too much about some future stuff, but I've been writing a lot of these lyrics that are based on actual historical events and stuff like that. I'll bring up one a bit, but I had this song idea based on Egypt and Egyptian gods, and it's the idea that is there for it is just it's going to be very, very heavy and very fun, but I think it's also gonna have some soft parts that really make people turn their heads.
See, now I'm even thinking too, you're getting my mind spinning right now. Like, how heavy is this track going to be when it comes to these softer parts? What is it going to be to turn my head? How is this idea from an Egyptian god standpoint going to funnel everything in there? Are you going to bring sounds in from ancient Egyptian culture and ancient Egyptian music and the sounds that we connect with on that into the song to help people connect with what you're trying to go for and to really create that vibe of that environment and that emotion to come across? There's a lot of different questions that already happen in my mind, and they're probably, questions you already run through in your mind while working on this song, but who knows, maybe those questions pop up as you start to work on it more and wait, do I put this here? Do I put this here? Should I add this? Should I move this? What could possibly happen? It's just, you're making me ask questions right now of what this could possibly lead to.
So that idea is for a way later time, but it's something that I actually wrote lyrically. I was thinking about, I'm it'd be really, I was playing a lot of God of War at the time too, but I was I know that's not really Egyptian, but the idea of making a song based on mythology, but also like true historical events, I think it'd be really fun to like tinker with. And you brought up like using sounds from, Egyptian culture, which is something I'd be very interested in doing because I really want there to be this like feel for the song. Like even if like vocally it's not there, I really want the sound itself of the song to be like something that you can replay for the rest of your life. Something that you can just go back and listen to.
Oh,
So
absolutely. And I even think about too, relating it to another band from the Northeast, Ice Nine Kills, related to what they've done, the Silver Scream and Welcome to Horrorwood as well, where you listen to the songs they put out about each of those movies, and it sounds like, and I'm not gonna say they hit on it every time because I think they hit on it like 95% of the time, where you listen to those songs and it just absolutely invokes the emotion, the sound, and the feeling of the movies they're trying to emulate. I think the shower scene and the breakdown of that song is a fantastic example
yeah,
of that, given how they add the violins in there from the famous Alfred Hitchcock psycho stabbing in the shower scene. Like it
yeah,
absolutely hits on that. And if you're able to take these ideas and these sounds from Egyptian culture, from Egyptian music, and put it in there, now you're starting to really work in and create a connection to the culture for the sound that you're trying to work with. And it's going to add more to the overall feeling and potentially the overall lore of the song, especially when you're referencing not only Egyptian mythology, but also Egyptian historical record as well.
yeah. It's definitely something I'm looking forward to. And like, yeah, I love Ice Nine. I think I mean, I personally liked the first Silver Scream a lot more, but Silver Scream 2 has a lot of really, really good songs. Man, the one about I forget the name specifically, but the one about Candyman is probably my favorite. Just because I like the way they have the bees in there, but it's a slow build up and it has a nice like chorus. I don't know. I like that song a lot. I always listen to it on repeat.
See, like that's like the one of two songs from Horrorwood that I just did not get into.
Really?
Was it Farewell to Flesh? That was the song, the
Yeah, I love.
Candyman one. Now, for me, it was like almost all the other ones. The titular song is probably one of my favorite Ice Nine Kill songs of all time. Did enjoy the shower scene. Did enjoy Hip to Be Scared. Funeral Derangements with the breakdown is absolutely brutal. Worst Vacation was a massive surprise with how much I liked it. But kind of
Yeah,
taking a look back to even from the beginning of the conversation that we had, when it comes to your sound, when it comes to being working on multi genres and blending all these different sounds in, so you can expand your reach and expand your own creative needs. This is what we're talking about. This is something that you're doing, but it's even taking it one step further because you're not necessarily going from one genre to the next. It's now you're taking ideas and taking concepts and taking sounds from potentially different cultures and seeing how you can weave them into your music to amplify what you're going for and to amplify the sound at the same time. I mean, take a look at some of these bands, especially from I'm gonna use from Asia specifically. I'm thinking about bands like The Who. I'm thinking about Bloodywood. I'm thinking about Voice of Beach. I'm thinking about the Japanese bands, Baby Metal, Bandmade, Love Bites. Crystal Lake has done a good amount of this. Cold Rain has done large amounts. All those bands have taken a lot of these unique feelings, especially The Who and Bloodywood, from their own cultures, have implemented them into their own style of music, their own style of metal, and it's something that is so unique but is so powerful at the same time when you blend them together in the best way possible. So they're kind of paving the way for a lot of other people to say, okay, take a look at what maybe some of these cultural aspects can do for music and expand them, so not only people get to know, get more into the music, but also at the same time get a bigger interest into others' cultures as well and want to get to learn and know more about what makes those cultures special at the exact same time.
yeah, absolutely. You brought up Crystal Lake. I love Crystal Lake. They're actually one of my actually my top three bands for sure. Crystal Lake, they take a lot of the Japanese, Asian, like those sounds and their culture, and they put them in like intros or breakdowns. And like I remember, can't even remember what song. I think it was Astra, or it may be called Astra or Astral. That song is just like it's beautiful, and they had two new songs that they just released that were completely out of like blew me out of the water. Like their sound is very good. It's like Spirit Box, but it's like mixed with something else that I like. I can't even like put my finger on, but it's just so so good. And I can tell Spirit Box gets a lot of their inspiration, like sound wise, from them too. But I
Yeah,
love Chris.
I'll say the more bands and the more like you guys, the more you take inspiration from everyone else that's out there, it's the more you blend in your own sound, the more you create something that is your own unique thing. Because again, think about, Japanese metalcore, Mongolian metal, Indian metal, Indonesian metal. But what the stuff that like, Love Bites and Bandmade and Baby Metal are doing, they're all taking inspiration from metal. They're all taking inspiration from their own culture as well and putting it together. And we're creating something that's new. We're creating something that's fun, exciting, that people are really getting into. And at the same time, it expands metal to a whole new world, expands metal to a whole new realm, and expands our perception at the same time as well. So if you're able to continue to do that and continue to focus in on something like that with your ever-changing sound and how to evolve that, when Tom said this band is going places, I mean, at that point, if you continue to do that, you're going to prove him right. It's just putting in the work and making sure it happens, man.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to, be able to even tour with these bands too. Like, I think a lot of our sound is so mixed where we could honestly be on a show with this band, that band, or the other. Because, when we did open for Chelsea Grin in our hometown, or home state, we pulled out all of our heavier songs. But we have stuff that we have unreleased that's soft and metalcore and that we could play, like if we opened up for like, Wage War or Nothing Nowhere, bands like that. So, I look at like those bands too, like you said, and I see that I can take so much inspiration from that. And I think we could do it with anyone, honestly.
I think you could do it too. Now I'm going to be watching you and making sure you do it. That's the key. Now
Yeah,
we're going to be watching to make sure you do it.
yeah. I have a lot of dope ideas, written on paper that I think when we go into the studio and we really start to like put this together, I think it's gonna hit when it drops. It may take some time, and I know that we're gonna be on a little bit of a hiatus so we can get stuff done. But I really think the new beginning of what we're like really trying to like put our minds to is gonna hit. I mean, we've really been taking the time on this album too because we want it to be something that people can go to and really just like feel. So we're going to use a lot of sounds from a lot of different things. And there's going to be a lot of things on those songs that are actually just going to make you confused as well. Like, I really want to go into depth, but I also don't want to give too much away. But I really think that there's going to be some stuff in there that not many bands have ever done, ever, I think, that are also going to really be appreciated in our songs.
Very well said. And I know we're coming closer to the end of our time right now, but when it comes down to it, I mean, you guys will be working hard and you're going to be putting this together. So we're going to be watching. You're going to be making sure that it happens. And you guys, it doesn't sound like you guys are necessarily taking a hiatus. It's more like you guys are just getting, quote unquote, back into the lab again and just having some fun with it. So, JP, as we bring this podcast to a conclusion, one thing I'd like to do is give my guest, which is you right now, a chance to say whatever you want to say, plug whatever you want to plug, promote whatever you promote at the end of the podcast. So, JP, floor is yours.
You can check us out anywhere, Devitalized MA on all platforms, and for streaming services, just Devitalized. I want to thank, my friends and family for being my biggest supporters. And I want to thank the band. Those dudes are amazing, and to have them around and to be able to call them my brothers is a beautiful thing. I also want to say that if you're ever struggling or you ever feel like you're going through something or feel like that there's no one there for you, that our DMs are always open, and we appreciate you. We love you. And we say this every show because we believe that there needs to be more positive and love in this world. And I truly think that there's not enough bands that open their arms to the DMs and stuff. So if you ever feel like you're going through something, check us out, talk to us, hit us up. We're always here to speak to you. We want to not only be there on a stage, but we want to be there on a physical level and a mental level. So thank you so much. And I appreciate you for having me on this. It's awesome. It was great talking to you about games and songs and stuff. So thank you so much, dude.
Well, thank you for being on as well. And I think you might also be the first person in 437 episodes to use the time to say, I want to thank my friends and family. I've heard a lot of stuff. I don't think I've actually ever heard someone say thanks to their friends and family in that last part. So That's something unique, man, that I've not heard yet. So kind of put a smile on my face when you said that, just thinking about, how many people think that, but you've actually heard it on the podcast for once from somebody. That means a lot to a lot of people.
I gotta give a special shout out to my dad, because honestly, without him, like, I wouldn't even be doing music, because he put me and my brother on music when we were little kids. Gave him a guitar, gave me a drum set, and said, "You guys are gonna be a band." And we have. So, I'm thankful that there are people that give a fuck in my life.
Yeah, shout out to your dad as well, right there. Shout out to your dad as well. So now let's have this podcast with 3 specific things. First things first, when it comes to Devitalized, and when it comes to listening to Godslayer, listening to what they got out, and keeping in touch with them on social media. I mean, JP told you where to go find them, where you go stream them and everything like that. But you want to know an even easier way to go and do it? It's called the description of the podcast. Say find Devitalized online. Links and labels for everything will be there. So you'll be able to connect with them, follow them, stream their music, check them out, be able to know when they're playing their next live show. And once they finally, are going out doing a nationwide run opening for Chelsea Grin, you can find out about it there. Yep, we're saying it right here. Now it's time for number 2, JP. Whenever I've guests on the podcast, I enjoy having the podcast. I tend to make a certain promise, a way to say thank you for being on the podcast, and I want to continue to support the band if I can. So you hit on this. My promise to you is this, sir. When? Yes, it's a when, because that means it's going to happen. We just don't have a date or time set. When I get to see you perform live for the first time, I'm going to go all Liam Neeson from Taken on your ass. I will look for you. I will pursue you. I will find you. And I will say, first round's on me.
Hell yeah. I'll definitely guest list you. I want to see you. That'd be awesome.
Hell yeah. Well, JP, now it's time for number 3. I do not want to end this podcast by saying goodbye, because I want to keep in touch with you. I want to keep tabs on you guys, see what you guys do with some crazy ideas you have with music right now, especially after this conversation. And I got to make good on my promise. So this is not goodbye, my friend. No. This is, I'll see you later.
Have a good day.
Well, folks, I'm interview with JP from the band Devitalized, and now it's time for Kevin's final thoughts. So I'm thinking about all the stuff we talked about when it came to trying new things, and that's what the Devitalized is really trying to do. They don't want to be put into a certain box, and we brought up a lot of bands that had not been put into a box as well. We talked about Bring Me the Horizon, who broke out of that. We talked about Falling in Reverse. Talked about bands that are really breaking out of that now. Spirit Box, Bad Omens, Sleep Token. I Prevail still, they've broken out for a while, but they're breaking out with different sounds as well, different styles as well. And when it comes to bands now that are out there with a little bit of a heavier style, they should have the freedom to experiment any way they want and try these different things. Try to see where some of their styles and some of their sounds can really take off. And this is what we're going to be looking at here, because think about, again, the music scene from 2000, I'll say 2009 up until about the pandemic. Everyone kept saying rock is dead, rock is dead, rock is dead, rock is dead. We talked about this with Rick from Adelita's Way. But then right around the pandemic, right around end of 2019, Bring Me the Horizon is really starting to get a little bit more steam, a lot more, streams. They tried different things with That's the Spirit, with Amo. We still yet to hear Post-Human Survival. Falling in Reverse did the trilogy, and then they did Popular Monster, and that really took off. Then after the pandemic, you had Bad Omens pop off, you had Spirit Box pop off, you had Sleep Token pop off, and a lot of this really, really resonated, a lot of this really, really hit with so many people, and it showed that not only was rock and metal not dead, but there was this way for people to get into it now that was ever expansive. And it is the perfect time, because you're not even at the earliest time where people are just starting to look at this stuff. But as a band, or especially for Devitalized, is they're in a great spot where we're still in the the first third of those stages of people being embracive of a brand new sound and being embracive of inventive things. And that's where Devitalized can really take over with trying something based off of a video game like they did in Godslayer and really working with a deathcore hardcore mix. Now we're talking about a brand new song that's going to bring in some potential Egyptian ideas and Egyptian cultural themes and sounds to really maximize out on the sound and the message of the song, while we're seeing other bands like The Who, Crystal Lake, Bloodywood, Voice of Beja Prop, Bandmade really take some of their own cultures and put it in there and really create this unique kind of style of music that people are really getting behind. Why wouldn't you want to try and be unique and possible and try these different things? It's the perfect example, perfect time to do it. So follow Devitalized to make sure they're doing that. And also stay in touch with them. Go to the description of the podcast where there's Find Devitalized online. Links, labels for everything are down there. Also make sure you're subscribing to the Chord Progression Podcast. If you're here on YouTube, the button is right here. If you are on Spotify, Podcast, or Amazon, hit the like or follow or subscribe button. Also the video over here, it helps out as well. New episodes every single Tuesday and Thursday. And on this YouTube channel, we also do clips throughout the week, and of course a Friday song reaction just for fun. Also us on social media, the links are down there below. I believe Facebook and Instagram are our favorites, so go check those out as well. Thank you, Phoenix Fitness. Remember, 20% use the code CPP20 at AfterNextFit.com. Thank you, Phoenix Fitness. Thank you, JP, once again. I'm going to be watching you guys. check in with you soon. On that note, that's it, guys. Thank you for watching, listening to the Chord Progression Podcast. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single one of the big, healthy, and hearty. See ya! Yeah.